Hey guys, so today we're going to be having a look at this speaker. And what I mean by having a look, I mean by trying to fix it because basically the problem is that the micro USB port, which is used for charging, has come off. And there was some attempt at disassembling this, and well, that makes the whole thing much easier, doesn't it? So yeah, let's take this apart. So yeah, it's one of them, pretty cheap and cheerful speakers basically. But that doesn't mean that they was it again break down easily or whatever. It's all cool and all. At least they're pretty easy to fix. I think there were screws here before, but they're gone now. So I think I knew it. So you have these two speaker drivers, again, which is powered, and then you have this passive one called a passive radiator. And basically this moves whenever these speaker drivers are moving because of the air inside. So like, it pushes in and out, and this moves alongside it. It's very common in these Bluetooth speakers, and these help with, with a bit of a bass boost, considering how these things are really tiny. I think these are 40 millimeters. So yeah. Okay, so I can see some extra stuff here. So what we can do is remove the glue, and that'll take this out. And in the meantime, we should disconnect the battery as well, which is this. At least this thing is nice and easy to disassemble, so that's good. And yep, I knew it. There's the USB, micro USB port. So yeah, I guess we have a couple of options here. We could either I'm not sure if we could even reuse this thing. Only if I have like a pack of these micro USB ports, which I'm sure I have somewhere. I did remember buying them one time, but don't know if I throw them away. But what we could also do is get one of them micro USB female cables. So let me just find them. Just a standard micro USB female, and what we could do is just cut this off and wire it onto the connections here. And I don't know, maybe like you just drill a hole at the back here and stick it there. Yeah. And also, if you're wondering why I have like a bunch of these lying around, it's because I used to make speakers several years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. Here's one of my earliest ones that I built. Yep, this is what it looks like. Used the good old floorboard, and have these passive radiators at the back. So yeah, that's how they work. And here's the charging port, and yes, you could tell that's what it is. I'll show you some more photos of like the speakers that I've done basically. The reason I stopped doing these is because I don't know, building speakers got boring. I don't know why, but they just did. But while I did build them though, it was really fun, like designing them and stuff like that, and also working with floorboard. So let's try and solder this back on, I guess. So I have a soldering iron here at the ready, and of course what you need to do is to put some solder on the tip. Okay, let's see what we can do. I also have a sucker, wherever it is. So we can do is add a bit of solder onto here. And then try and suck this all up. So a common problem for these micro USB ports is that the solder joints that physically hold the thing, it's not enough. So yeah, that's like a bit of an issue. And I'm thinking that because there are, I think, 5 contact points here, like 5 pins basically on this micro USB port. I don't even know you could see them. Basically, you only need two. To make things easier, what we can do is basically bend some of these pins, you know, the ones that aren't being used, out of the way. I might just leave it. Maybe I'm underestimating the power of this Bluetooth board. So what we need to do is just push this into place. Okay, I need to remove more solder. Yeah, another useful thing is to also have a wet sponge as well to clean out the tip every once in a while. And what I used to do to clean the tip of the soldering iron was to use sandpaper, right up until I saw a video where it says don't. Use a wet sponge instead, and yeah, that's what I've been using since, and I'm happy that that video existed. Here we go. I guess what we could do is, I don't know, lay something here. There we go, that should be fine. Then we'll just fill this with solder. It's a bit too much. I see that budge a bit, so yeah, it's actually budged a lot, so I need to readjust that. This is the part where I wish I had like 3 hands or something. Alright, so more or less lined it up. Let's put some solder in. This is going to be very interesting since I have a really thick boy solder. Alright, so he's starting to lift off. So let's just sit this down basically. At least that's already much tougher, so that's good. Alright then, I'll just add more. I honestly don't know if you could see it very clearly. I'm just trying my best. It's probably okay. So I'll just add more solder. Oh, there's a big blob right there. That should be okay. Alright, I think my right eye started to tear up from all the lead. Alright, so what we could do is actually try and solder the 2 pins together, which is going to be pretty difficult, but what I'll try and do instead is test this by plugging this in. Oh, nothing's happening. This is always useful. And it's dead. Here it is, definite 5 volts. On the USB side anyways, like on the port, but we're not receiving anything on the circuit board, so yeah. This is gonna be like some absolute surgical stuff. But yeah, we're gonna try and do that. I mean, I guess what I should have done is pre-soldered the pins on that port before doing all of this, but oh well. Might just put some on the tip. Right, that end needs more of it. I'm guessing that on this left side here, it's basically power and data, like negative rails basically, or negative lines or whatever. So it should be okay, I think, if you like, I don't know, inadvertently join them. Yeah, that looks more or less connected. Hey, would you look at that? Oh, nice one. I mean, it's much better than having to cut up one of these, so at least there's that. Anyways, let's reassemble this whole thing. Actually, before we reassemble this whole thing, just, I don't know, have a look at the condition of this speaker basically. I have like my own personal motto, or like an adage, or whatever you may call it. basically leave things in a better state than when you found them. So yeah, what we're gonna do is just clean the housing out of this you know, speaker, because yeah, like, you know, this has been used quite a lot, obviously so much so that the USB port broke. And you know what, I'm happy that this thing is you know, being used like that. Yeah, I'm gonna try and clean this. Okay, so now that they've been cleaned, as you can see, it's much better. So basically this particular housing here, it's got this matte coating on it, but whatever it is, basically you have to be careful with what you use to clean them. Simply put, if you use any harsh chemicals like a degreaser or like isopropyl alcohol, this will start like eroding away, and it feels excessively sticky, and they'll just start like flaking off and stuff, and it doesn't look nice at all. So the best way to clean something like this off, especially like paint and stuff, is basically just use a like a microfiber cloth, like a wet one, and just, you know, use you know, good old elbow grease, just, you know, scrub it off. Nice and easy. And yeah, let's just put this back in, but not before putting the battery back. Okay, that's good, it hasn't exploded. And need to put the switch back in. Actually, I need to clean this bit. Okay, so it's this way. Alright, we'll just leave it at that for the time being, because we have to tend to the speaker drivers. So yeah, I think quite frankly, you just slide them in like so. Here we go. Okay, that's not bad at all. But what I should be concerned about though is trying to keep these wires out of the way, because otherwise that'll create a rattling sound and that won't sound good. Actually no, screw that, maybe we might need hot glue, so let me turn mine on. Okay, and while we wait for the hot glue gun to heat up, we have this passive radiator, which is basically sandwiched between these pieces of plastic to make more or less an airtight seal, which is pretty cool. Now what I used on my old speakers is basically glue, and that unfortunately means that they're pretty fragile, as in by if you push hard enough on the edges, the seal will break. And yeah, that's one of the pretty difficult things that I had to you know, like solve basically when designing the speaker, and I just ended up with using super glue. That does a good enough job. I guess if I was working with other materials such as acrylic or oak or something like that, you know, a better material than MDF, then yeah, I might be able to come up with something. Yeah, I must say, assembly wise, this speaker is well built. Like, not a single slab of glue or blob of glue was used. Well, maybe except for the wiring and stuff, but that's, you know, that's not like permanent sticky back adhesive that, you know, once you remove, you have to replace. Not much horse was used in the making of this speaker, and I like that. Yeah, let's just put a blob of hot glue on this. At least this will help with making an airtight seal. Let's just check if this thing works. And I think what happens next is we just push these in, and the speaker drivers themselves are loose right now, but I guess if you push these in, it makes the seal. I honestly don't know. Actually, what if there's something? Okay, I think I know what's happened. These were put in way too soon, so yeah, let's take these off. Let's just screw them down the edges first. And yep, as I expected, it's nicely fastened. This design ain't so bad. Yeah, I'll do these fairly tight. Obviously not too tight because you're threading into plastic. Honestly, what I should have done first is tested the whole speaker before putting this back in, because if this doesn't work, then I'd be in a world of pain.
Bluetooth mode.
Oh, nice one. Let me connect. I think it's speaker 4.2. Oh, yes. Is it charging? Yo, just realized this wasn't plugged in, so let's plug this back in again. There it is. Don't know if you could see it, but there is a light, a red light on this, and yeah, it's working just fine. So let me turn this back on, and let's just play some dank tunes. So yeah, that's how I managed to fix back a micro USB port on a speaker. Sure, you can just throw this away and buy a new one, but that's incredibly wasteful. It's quite a shame that you have people that are all about caring the environment, but don't pay the same homage to their devices. I'm not saying that you forgo buying them, but if you have the tools and experience, I guess, I encourage you to make the most out of your stuff so that all the plastic, all the rare earth metals put into them are worth it. And if not for the micro USB port breaking, this speaker would still be okay to use after 5 more years. Thanks to this repair, that's now possible. This is the Budding Engineer. Thanks for watching. See you soon, and hope you've learnt a thing or two.